everybody. I told you I'd be right back. I am. We are going to talk about the first book in J.R. Ward's Black Dagger Brotherhood series. For the first few books, I'm going to use this. This is the Insider's Guide to help me keep up with the books. This one. There we go. Yeah, you can see it now. My what are we going to call you? Producer over here. My producer.
Reading a book.
Yes, you are reading a book. I'm trying to get her to read things. She's not old enough for this yet.
That's my age.
Sorry if you've missed stuff. I can't see what you see. But I'm going to use this book for the first few books to help me remember what's going on and everything like that, because it's just easier that way, because I'm not rereading them right now. I'm actually almost through the series. I've got a few books left in the series as my reread, but I did not start from the beginning, and I have skipped some stuff. So I'm having to kind of do a lot of this from memory. The first book is Dark Lover, and this is the very first thing. You do not know anything about the culture, the world, nothing. So it's got a lot of background to it. It's a lot of learning people, learning who everybody is, traditions, all of that. It's got a lot of background, but it's fun because the way it is all introduced by Miss Ward is you have a human. She's not a human. She is half-breed. She is part vampire, part human, and she doesn't know anything about her father's side of the family. She doesn't know anything about her mother's side of the family. She was orphaned at birth. Her mom died. And so you're learning everything like she is. And it really helps, because she doesn't know anything about any of these people. She doesn't know anything about the culture. She's just as lost as you are. So everything's having to be spelled out for this character, and it helps you understand what is going on. It really helps. Not dumping you in the middle of something that's already going on. It's you start from scratch and you learn. So the characters in this book, I'm going to tell you about who I see as main characters and who they are, and a little bit of why they're important in the book. First, you have Beth. Her human name is Beth Randall, and that is what she grew up with. She is an orphan. She went through foster care, all of that kind of stuff, because her mother died in birth. She died during childbirth, and she never knew her dad. Her dad is actually Darius, and Darius is a member of the Black Dagger Brotherhood, and he knew about her, but hoped that she would be take after her mom, I guess you would say, and be a human. When he realized that she was going to end up transitioning into a vampire, which they normally do about the age of 25. That's when they basically hit puberty, if you could say that. They, in one day, they go from just a kid through a massive growth spurt, and they're an adult, all in one day. That's one of the first things you learn about the differences between humans and vampires. So Darius, has followed Beth her entire life. She didn't know this. She had no idea. And he actually dies before he gets to meet her. But he sets up a way for her to survive before he dies. Actually, right before he dies. And he is told no. When he dies, he thinks that his daughter is going to die as well. But because of his death, one of his closest friends steps in and does the favor that he was asked and takes care of Beth. And that would be Wrath. Wrath, son of Wrath, he is the blind king, and he refuses to be king. He is the last full-blood vampire, and everybody else has kind of got a human mixed in there somewhere. But Wrath does not. He is full-blooded vampire, and that is what's causing his blindness. He was born with poor vision, and all it has done is get worse. So right now he can still see. He goes out and he fights with the Black Dagger Brotherhood. He's part of them, but he will not take on his role as king. Before Darius died, he asked Wrath, he said, "Hey, you are the best chance that my daughter has of surviving. I need you." And he tells him no. He's like, bye. Nope, not happening. And then Darius dies. He gets blown up in a car. Spoilers, actually not really. That one is like in the first chapter of the book or something. It's way early. But there's going to be spoilers everywhere. Don't care. Wrath decides to take care of Beth. The next person that you meet is actually Torment. Everybody calls him, I guess, Tor. For some reason, when I read it, I read Thor. It's not Thor. It's T-O-H-R. So it's Tor, short for Torment. I'm going to call him T. T is married. He's part of the Black Dagger Brotherhood. He is friends with Wrath and Darius. He's friends with all of them. But he's the most level-headed and the only one that is actually mated or married in the group at the very beginning of the stories. He becomes Beth's first vampire friend. Wrath is a little bit too complicated to be called a friend at first. And T is there to, make her feel more comfortable, and it really helps. The next thing that you see, you meet the Lessers. Okay, Lessers are what we would think of as the undead. They're all men. Sorry, women are not this stupid. No, that's not what I mean. But they're all men that have died and been brought back to kill the vampires. There we go. Vampires aren't hurting anybody. They're not. They are not trying to hurt the humans. They don't care about the humans. They don't eat humans. Usually. There's exceptions. But they don't. But they're not hurting anybody. But the Lessers see them as, I don't know, unnatural. So they fight them. There's a whole lot more to that. I'm just skimming it on the top. Also, ones that you meet here would be Vicious. And the reason Vicious makes my list is because he has visions. So a lot of times the Brotherhood will defer to him when he says something and he says, "I've seen it," or "that's how it's going to be." It's because he has actually seen it. He has visions. He has actually seen it, and he knows that is the steps that need to be taken. The next person would be Butch. Butch is Beth's friend. He's a human. He's a cop. He has problems. He's Butch. But he really cares about Beth, and he wants to make sure that she's taken care of. And so he's an important part of the book as well. You also meet a boy named Billy Riddle, I believe is his name. And he is awful. He is, he's awful as a human. He gets picked up by the Lessers and gets turned into one of them. He's awful as one of them. So, Billy is awful. Then you have Marissa, who is actually, for lack of a better term that you would understand, Wrath's girlfriend. But he didn't choose her. She was basically given to him as a child because they have to have somebody, when they transition, they have to have somebody of the opposite sex to feed from during their transition. They have to have blood, like if you're a male, you have to have blood from a female, and females have to have blood from a male to make the transition into vampires. And without that, you die. So Marissa was there for Wrath when he changed. And she's been there for him ever since. It was believed that they are supposed to get married, but Wrath has always pushed her away. So she is like the estranged girlfriend spouse thing happening. And then you meet Havers. He is Marissa's brother and a physician. He's one of the only physicians in the race. So if somebody gets sick or hurt, you go see Havers to get taken care of. Now, here's our plot. I've got a few little things. First, Darius is Beth's dad. He sets it up so that Wrath will take care of Beth during her transition, and then he dies. Okay? Beth actually gets attacked by Billy Riddle in the very first part of the book, and that's where you meet Butch. Beth tells Butch what happened. He goes, finds the guy that did it, and does some questionable policing. Gets in trouble for it. But he was there for her. He took care of her. Havers, Marissa, and Wrath. Okay. Wrath does not think that Marissa is a problem or anything. He does not like her as a wife or anything like that. He just, like, she's a food source. That's it. He doesn't care about anything else. But Marissa and Havers are part of the upper crust aristocracy, I guess. In the book, it's called Glam Era. These are families that they have money and they flaunt it. That's what they do. They have parties. Everybody wears a different dress. Everybody wears different jewels. If you wear the same thing twice, oh my gosh, it's so bad. Yeah, we all think it's stupid, but that's how they are. That's what they were raised in. Women are, just models for clothing, and that's it. But because Marissa has not been taken in as Wrath's true mate, she is looked down on. And that hurts her in the eyes of everybody else. And Havers gets very upset because that's his sister. So he's kind of taken up for her, but it's weird. It's just really weird, and it ends up being very bad because Havers commits treason by telling the Lessers where everybody is. And it causes lots and lots of problems. And it's just really bad. It's just really bad. So that is really the main part of this book. Yes, you're learning the whole couple thing between Wrath and Beth. You're learning the whole world as you know it. But then you have the treason and the plot twist where Havers actually brings the Lessers in to harm Wrath because he discarded his sister. It's weird. How T becomes Beth's friend. At one point, Wrath has to leave Beth alone for a little while. This is after they know that there's a problem. We know that Billy is kind of after Beth. And we also know that Beth is fixing to go through her transition. So, Wrath doesn't want to leave her alone. But he doesn't know who to trust to take care of her while he can't be there. And that person that he finally decides is T. Torment. And they bond over a Godzilla marathon on TV. It's awesome. When Beth finally does go through her transition, that's when you really get to meet the entire Black Dagger Brotherhood. There's a lot of them. Well, not really. There's a lot more now. But you get to meet all of them. And you get to see Vicious's powers. Okay? Beth goes through her transition and she disappears. And Butch figures out where she is. And instead of calling the cops or whatever, he goes over there by himself. And when he gets there, he basically picks a fight with these giant guys because he's not going to leave Beth to fend for herself. And that's when everybody realizes Vicious has seen Butch before in one of his visions. And he takes him under his wing almost. He's like, okay, I guess you can stay. Because, guess what? He's a Red Sox fan. And they bond over Red Sox. And also, Vicious knew that he was supposed to be there. But it's really cool. One of my favorite lines is, oh, I didn't put him on here. Like, the best character, and I'm sad when I don't get to see him very often, is Fritz. He is the butler. Go figure. Fritz is a doggin. He is a servant to the vampires, but they're not. If you've read the Harry Potter series, the house elves, how they are in the series, not how they're portrayed in the movies, but how they're portrayed in the actual books, is kind of what we're looking at for the doggin. They love to take care of people. They get upset when they can't do what they want. Like, one thing I just read in a book that's way further into the series, they end up having a water balloon fight in the foyer. If somebody did that in my house, I would lose my mind. He loves it. He's following behind him with a wet vac, sucking up all the water because he thinks y'all have given me a present because you are letting me clean up after you. He loses his mind if you try to cook, if you try to clean. Don't try to thank him for anything. He gets flustered and just kind of crazy. But he is awesome. And my favorite line out of this book, I believe, comes from him. And that is during the fight between the brothers and Butch. He walks in and he's got his little tray of different, foods or drinks or whatever. And he looks at them and he says, please don't bloody the human in here. Take it to the backyard. Because blood is hard to get out of stuff. Okay? That's basically what he says. But, please don't bloody the human in here. Take him to the other room. He's awesome. Nothing ever messes with him, really. He's always happy. He is described many times as having his face is like melting. So, very droopy, bulldog-looking face. Let's see, how does Rage actually... He's one of the Black Dagger brothers, and you'll learn about him in just a minute. He describes Fritz as the guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones, where his face melts off. Like that, except it doesn't actually fall all the way off. It's just halfway there. So it's interesting. I always see like what's that dog's name? Droopy?
What?
Droopy dog?
What?
It's a cartoon. That's what I see when I think of Fritz. Okay, the climax of this book. First, Beth transitions. Everybody's there. But then they start kind of going their own directions, whatever. And she is finally with Wrath. They are a couple. And he has let Marissa know this. Havers finds the Lessers. And he tells them where Wrath is staying. And they go to the house during the day. Now, vampires cannot go out during the day. It's not that it's not because they don't have a soul or something like that, but they are very allergic to the sun. They can't go out during the day. They get burnt and eventually will die. But the Lessers come in and they take Beth and they are fixing to kill her, but they are waiting for Wrath to come in. Wrath comes in, he saves the day, but then he's injured very badly. And Marissa comes in and saves Wrath because she has to. She doesn't bear any of them really any ill will. She understands that Wrath does not care for her in that way, but she also understands that Wrath doesn't dislike her. It's just it didn't work. And it kind of helps that she met Butch during this book. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But it's really cool. Like I said, I love the series. Can't wait for the new one. I'm going to go on to the next book, which is one of my favorites. I have done a video about it before, so you might be hearing the same thing again. But it'll be okay. So, see you in a few minutes. Let me know what you think. If you've read the books, let me know what you think about my review. If you haven't, go pick them up. She writes them in, I'm not sure how many languages, but a bunch.
You can find them at bookstores.
Yes, you can find them at bookstores. But you can also find them online. J.R. Ward. I think it's just jrward.com or blackdaggerbrotherhood.com. Let me see if I can find it real quick. jrward.com.
I can't believe I know what this word was when I first looked at it.
Shush. jrward.com. You can look up Black Dagger Brotherhood, BDB. You'll find it. I promise. It's right here. But she does write them, and she does have them translated into several languages. I know for a fact these are sold all through Europe, UK. They are sold Canada and US, of course. They are sold in Australia. And like I know they're written in Dutch, I think. I know there's a bunch of different languages out there, so you can figure it out and find something close, maybe, hopefully. If you can't, let me know. I'll see if I can find something. But on to the next book. Thanks.